Final hour overdrive continues. Brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. We've got Leafs Blackhawks tonight right here on TSN Radio. Monday Nighter tonight on TSN. Cowboys in action out in L.A. We'll get to our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. But I think most Leaf fans, whether you're going to the game tonight or watching tonight, listening tonight, you want to see the Auston Matthews show continue. Right, and I was thinking about it over the weekend. We were at a buddy's place on Saturday watching the game, and he's got 6 in 2 games. Like, how many goals does he have to score in how many games before we start talking kind of real numbers and real projections on what he's going to do?
This year, you mean?
Yeah, this year, because like I saw a lot of people online, the year he scored 60, he didn't score his 6th until like November 4th or whatever it was. You know, and everyone's trying to compare and contrast. You know, he had a slow start when he scored 60.
He's going to have a dip at some point.
Yeah, of course.
That's what happens.
I think it's like teams. It's like the individual stuff is like teams. You get around American Thanksgiving before you can kind of see trajectories. Obviously, there's some guys that go on massive heaters that come out of nowhere. You know, like the Oakland Athletics, the year they went on the heater and made the playoffs. But I think it's around that where you're like, if this guy gets hot, he could do this or that. I don't think it's 5 games. It's not 10 games. I did have someone reach out to me who is very credible, who said it wouldn't shock me if he gets 70. I don't want to name that name. I don't.
Really? 70 snipes.
It's a big number, but listen.
When was the last time someone even came close?
I feel like
Brett
Bernie,
Hall, probably.
didn't Bernie Nichols have
Bernie
70?
Nichols had 72, I think, one year. Ovi had 65, I believe. That's the most he scored. And last year, McDavid had, what, 63? 63 or 64, one of those.
Either
That's
way.
it.
Like,
I mean,
listen, I and Pasternak had 60, didn't he?
He hit 60.
Yeah.
Stamkos hit 60
I think
one
it's
year.
realistically, like 60 should be the number that you look at with given this start, because there is going to be, you know, there'll be a stretch where it's like, hey, hit some posts, miss some nets, like, you know, he scores 1 goal in 5 games type of thing.
It is a great start, though.
But it is an awesome start.
I used to say to myself, like, try to go home at Christmas with like 10 to 15, because then you can chip away and you get 20, and that's in the bank, and then it's 30. He's got 6 in 2 games. It's like, that's a good start, man.
It's a great
start. You start doing the math. Like, he needs, if he stays healthy, and this applies to everyone. Brady Tkachuk's up to, what, 4 goals on the season? Like, Brady's been a monster.
So good,
they're
monster.
So
Evgeny Malkin's got 6 points. He had a 4-point game the other day.
Yeah.
You know, it is so early, clearly. But, like, to hit 50, if he plays the next 80 games, he only scores 44 goals in 80 games, only. But if he scores 44 and 80, like, that would be expected, right? Like, it's almost as if he stays healthy with him banking 6. You're like, all right, he's going to get to 50.
Yeah.
Like, it would seem almost impossible for him not to score 50. And that's how quickly it can turn. But we haven't seen this.
Like health.
Of course. Health
is,
obviously is the number one thing. If he plays 80 more games, if he plays 82 games, then that's a different story. If he misses 15 because he hurts his knee or something, then all bets are completely off. And that applies to everybody.
And he goes on heaters, Hazy. Like, he when he scores, it's like, okay, he's going to go 3 games in a row with 2 goals at it. Who the hell knows what kind of heater he's going to go on here just to start the season?
Well,
it's so good to start that way.
That's
man.
Like Ovi did. The last guy to start the season with back-to-back hat tricks was Alex Ovechkin in 17-18.
What did he score that year?
I'd have to look it up. I would guess 54, 56.
I'll look it up.
Look it up right
18?
now. 17-18. That happened to be the year they won the Stanley Cup. He ended up with 49? You're kidding me, JP. How many games did he play? Ovi must have missed a boatload of games.
He didn't.
That
He doesn't
would have
miss
been
games.
Doogie giving you that info.
Yeah,
it have
I
been?
think Doogie to JP, JP to me. They've got a system going on back
Bingo, bango.
Everyone's working together. Lots of cohesiveness.
Yeah.
Got an answer for me over there? Doogie?
No.
JP?
I'm looking
How many
at,
games did he play?
49.
He played 82 games? That is actually the most shocking stat I think I've ever heard. That Alex Ovechkin, still in his prime 5 years ago, played 82 games, started the year with back-to-back hat tricks.
Yeah.
And scored 40.
I'm looking at it. 82, 49, 38, 87 points.
Wow. So he scored 43 goals the next 80 games. which is still a
It's
remarkable
still one every
run.
two.
Yes.
Like, it's still
Remarkable.
ridiculous.
So maybe I need to rescind this idea that it's a lock he's going to score 50 because it starts
no,
with 6.
listen, I think.
But it seems likely.
I think it's a lot like health, but I think it's a lock that he's going to get 50. But 70 is a special season where you just don't have lulls, where you just like Pasternak hit 60, McDavid. It felt like last season those guys were scoring every night.
70 seems
So
basically impossible.
JP told me in my ear, he said Solani was the last 70 goals.
Well, 76, him and McGillney the same year.
Yeah.
That would have been in 92 or 93.
Yeah, I was in the league. I remember that.
Remember, they both scored 76 the same year.
Gilney.
That was crazy.
But yeah, I just, you know what? Scoring is up. He's capable of doing it. But there will be,
70 seems like a stretch.
Well, we got a guy over there who said the other guy's going to get 170 points.
Yeah, which is equally as absurd.
Well, it's just,
McDavid's not getting 170 points, and I don't think Matthews is going to score 70 goals.
but what is it? I love seeing like the projections. Like Matthews is on pace for 246
Yes.
goals or whatever.
I actually went to look up. I'm like, how many people have scored 50 and 50? Because I was curious. And
Gretzky did it in 39, right?
Gretzky did it in 30. You know what's wild is Gretzky did it in 39, and then like 2 years later, he did it in like 42 games. He's done it 3 times. So there have been 5 players in NHL history that have done it. Maurice Richard, the first one, 50 and 50.
Yeah.
Mike Bossy did it in 81, 82, I think it was. Gretzky did it 3 times. Lemieux did it once. Brett Hull did it twice.
Yeah.
Brett Hull did it twice.
Holly was a
Dude,
Holly
Gretzky
scored
did
86.
something ridiculous, man. He got I think Gretzky got to 100 points in 30-something games. The year he got 212,
Well, makes
I
sense.
just caught it on a highlight. They were like, there was Gretzky's 100th point in his 30-something. It was insane.
Man, let me find this Gretzky stat. All right. So
It is crazy.
Here to put this into perspective, this is why the conversation about Gretzky, it's difficult in terms of is he the best scorer of all time, or is it just that he was so much better than everyone else? I've always argued he should be considered the greatest goal scorer.
We had 92 goals one year.
Well, exactly, and he's 894 in his sleep.
Yeah.
The second half of his career, he's like, I'm just going to try to rack up 120 assists every year.
Dude, if you took away his goals, he's still the all-time leading point getter
Exactly.
in the league.
So Maurice Richard in 44-45 scored 50 goals in 50 games right on the nose. Mike Bossy in 1980-81, 50 and 50 on the nose. So right on the nose.
Cam Neely,
Gretzky, no, Neely never had 50 and 50. Gretzky in 81-82 scored 50 and 39. He had 61 goals in 50 games. So when he hit 50, Bossy hit 50,
Yeah.
Rocket hit 50, this cat had 61. In 83-84, he had 50 and 42. He also had 61 goals in 50 games that year. And then in 84-85, he had 50 and 49 games, and he ended up with 53 and 50. So he had a hat trick his 50th game.
right.
So he had 50 and 49, and then the next game he said, I'm going to score a hat trick.
I would bet money Cam Neely had 50 and 50. Sorry to break it to you. I know it's irrelevant.
Apologies, but I'm literally looking at it right now. I don't see
How
Cam
much
Neely.
money? How much money would you bet?
How much would you have bet if I'll stop you from doing it because I'm looking unless Wikipedia is wrong.
Well,
I
Wikipedia
would
is
have
wrong
bet
a
10,
lot.
I would have bet 10 grand that Cam Neely scored 50 and 50.
Okay, Doogie, look it up. I don't believe that happened, but it's possible. In 88-89, Lemieux had 50 goals in 46 games. And then Hull had 50 and 49 and 50 and 50 on the nose.
It's a hell of a lot of goals.
It's crazy amount, but we're talking 5 players all time. And the last time it happened would have been 91-92 when Brett Hull did it. And like Matthews, he's not gonna do it. 50
Cam
and
Neely
50.
scored 50 goals in 44 games.
Is that right? Yeah, but to start the season,
hold on a
Doogie?
second. Wikipedia is a trusted source.
But wait a minute, Doogie.
To start the season,
Was he on the IR to start the year, and then did he score 50 over the course of 46? Like remember Matthews a couple of years ago had 50.
was on pace to
Well, he had 50 in his last 50 games or whatever it was, but that doesn't count. 50 and
Right.
50 is the first 50 games.
So Cam Neely didn't do that? Was he
Well, I don't know. I mean, not according to the list I'm looking at.
Dumb and Dumber or what? Like what?
Hey, you know what? You could tweet us the facts of Cam Neely, but I knew that he had 50 goals
All right.
in 50 games.
50 and 44. That's what you're claiming. That's amazing.
I swear he got
I don't know why it's not on Wikipedia, but
He got 3 on me one night. Ugh.
oh, wait a minute.
Oh, here we go.
Wait a minute.
I got a better list.
No. I'm looking at something
He's going to break this down where this does not count for anything. Go ahead.
I'm trying to read through this on the fly, but I'm not going to be able to do this because I'm trying to read it. I'm finding there's an ESPN article about it. I feel like it might have been over the course of 2 seasons. Like he had 50 goals, like the last 24 games of one season, and then the first 20 of the next.
Oh, well, that's an asterisk.
Well, no, it just doesn't count. Period. There's no asterisk. I mean, it's an absurd commentary.
Okay, well, let's say if there was a bet in place, it would have been just flushed because
Listen. If I don't want to be too bold on this because I don't want to take away a record. That's incredible if that happened. If he started the season with 50 goals in 44 games, I just feel like that would be a bigger story.
Well, I think it would be.
Like, wouldn't that be like that's like almost that is historic outside of Gretzky's pace.
We'll have to read the article, but I think there is something fishy about it.
Wow, that's incredible.
I think it's them going. He got injured, and we prorated.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he played 20 games and then was hurt for 20 games and then came back,
right?
He would have scored 50, I guess, in his first 44 games,
Look,
which is still remarkably
the
impressive.
The guy just came off the top turnbuckle, okay?
Okay.
Billy Dodson is a Bruins fan,
Yep.
and he said he certainly did it. He scored 50 goals in less than 50
in the
games.
first 44 games of the
I
season.
don't know, but he said
Billy
he did it.
But
Billy's
tell
lying.
Billy's got to know. Billy's a historian, and Billy's a man of integrity. He you cannot compare 50 and 44 to the Gretzky, to the Rocket, to the Bossy, to the Hull, to the Lemieux. If he was hurt for 6 games and then missed a little bit of time.
We want them all on the same level. The drop of the puck at the start of the season.
Why can't we sell it?
I'm not taking away from it. It's remarkable.
It's like you and Mike Johnson.
No.
You just find a way to take a
don't
sky
get me wrong.
dump and
Don't get me
anything
wrong.
positive. You're just
it's an amazing statistic. It's an amazing statistic.
But it's
it's not the same as the
it's fraudulent. What
50 and 50, which was established by the great Maurice Richard.
Yes.
Right? Like we all know it, 50 and 50, the most famous 50 and 50 ever until there was a 50 and 39. Like those are the 2 most famous ever. It's different if it wasn't from game 1 through game 50.
Yes, that's what Billy followed up with.
Thank you,
Bill.
Bill.
It was his 44th goal, but the team's 66th game. He was
44th
hurt.
game,
But he still did it. He still did it.
He did it, which is remarkable. Doesn't count, but it's great.
It's an asterisk. That's what it is. You put a star beside his name, say he did it.
No, forget it.
How about
it just never happened.
Doogie Howser gets to have the final call.
Yeah, you want to vote on this?
You want to go to Doogie?
Yeah,
Doogie gets the final call.
What do you think, Doogie?
Doogie, does it count as a 50 and 50 in the same vein as Gretzky and Bossy and all those guys, or is it different?
I'd say it still counts.
Well, there you go.
It still counts.
Doogie,
all right,
off
Doogie.
the top turnbuckle
It's
himself.
unofficial, but it still counts.
All right.
Unofficial.
By the way, let's show the people Doogie. Put him up there. Let's see this guy. Ladies, take a look. Look at this guy.
Look at Doogie v. Doogie.
Wow.
Get that on SportsCenter tonight.
Yes, Doogie v. Doogie. Who is
Doogie
better
v.
looking, Doogie Howser or our Doogie Howser?
Yes, Karen Lindsay, we need that tonight.
Breaking
Doogie
it down.
v. Doogie.
Yeah,
that's
our
outstanding.
new producer, folks. He's 14.
But he runs a tight ship, and we love it.
Yes, he does.
We're having
he's
meetings.
Organized. All the emails are coming in.
He's doing a great
everything.
job. He's doing a great job. Yeah, his first 50 games. That is incredible. I did not know Neely did that.
First 50 games of his
season. First 50. That is more. That is so impressive. I want to clarify.
I find
circling back.
You know why?
Because
I'm just saying it doesn't count to the same extent as the other
kick
ones.
your ass if he sees you in the
pepper shaker. If I throw a pepper shaker,
you do the.
Actually, it was Doogie. We didn't find it that impressive.
Yeah, you're pointing at Doogie.
I thought it was great personally, Cam, but Doogie was not overly
Doogie
impressed.
didn't care. He said that you were
okay
fraudulent.
50 in his first 44. All right, who was feeding him biscuits that year. Was it Adam Oates? Must have been putting it on a tee
What year was
for
that?
him.
Because I swear he got 3 on me one night at the
That
Garden.
was 90, I think 93, 94, 90, 91, 92. I don't know. Sorry.
It's got to be. Either way, he had a natural hat trick on me, I think, that didn't go so well.
93, 94. Were you in the league at that
I
point?
feel like that was.
He had a hat.
It might have been
natural
like
hat trick counts.
It might have.
That's a real hat
Part
trick.
of the 50 was on noodles.
That's a
man.
real natural
I don't know.
hat trick.
Yeah, it might have been. Like, I'm worried that I might have contributed to that. But
Okay.
it is
Well,
what it is. He was a hell of a player.
Listen, he was a great player.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone tweeting in saying, I guess he had 2 really bad hip injuries that year.
Well, think
50
of his
goals
career.
and 44 the whole
He
season.
retired early, and he was an animal. He was an unbelievable player. Like, he was a lot like
Yeah.
Shanahan, that type of, like, tough as nails, could fight, could do it all. He was a lot like
I feel
Lindros.
like Noodles. I feel like he got sat on the bench with Kevin Stevens in Toronto, and everyone made a massive deal of it, and I think he just disappeared after that. That's what it seems like. I forget who the coach was. Steve Casper, maybe. He was coaching the Bruins, and they sat Kevin Stevens and Cam Neely for the whole third period, and it's like Seabass disappeared after that.
Well, he's in the history books.
What was the name of the coach
50
there?
and
you just said?
44.
Boston's coach. He wore Fedoruk wore the sweaters. You remember
Todd
he was
Fedoruk?
no,
Robbie.
Robbie
Rob
Fedoruk.
Fedoruk?
He's the guy who threw the bench on the ice.
That was
Flipped
in
out and threw
New
the
Jersey,
bench
though,
on.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that was in New Jersey.
But he was known for sweaters. He wore sweaters, like yellow sweaters behind the bench.
Yeah, it's a tough look, man.
Yeah,
Torts does that now. Like Torts will wear.
Yeah, but Torts wears
he'll wear
a
a quarter
jacket.
zip.
Torts is put together. I saw him yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah,
And
home opener Saturday.
he wears a sweater, like a dress shirt, a sweater, and then his suit coat. Like, it looks good. Like he was
Listen,
in
it's
control
cold
behind the
in
bench
rink,
there
man.
too. Like
I got no problem with that.
yeah, like you look at it. He's a guy that knows what his team is. So he wasn't yelling and screaming. He was really in control back there.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a few good players, but Philly's going to be in for a tough year.
Yeah,
They are.
and they're expecting that, right?
Yep.
They're tanking basically,
Yeah.
and they're just going to try to unload as many contracts I think as they can. And
Well, there's some good players.
Move
Like
on.
Konechny would be a real interesting find.
sure,
'Cause he's tough to play against. He's a
Yeah.
good player.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, they'll find suitors like for sure, and some guys have to stick around.
Yeah, I just
But-
think if you're going to get some value out of those players, like Konechny might be one, because I think he's got a really affordable deal, like 5.5 or something.
Right.
Like he might be a guy that teams are looking at the deadline to shore up depth.
Yeah, someone tweeted in saying Robbie Fedoruk benched Neely and Oates.
Phew.
It was Neely and Oates. That was the pair that was dominating there. Yeah,
This
50
wasn't
goals.
Adam Oates. I know it. It was Kevin Stevens, and Google it. Google
All right,
Cam
all
Neely
right.
and Kevin Stevens benching, and I'm pretty sure it was Steve Casper that was the coach.
Okay. We'll get to that. Doogie, you're on the case. All right, Luke Willson coming up.
Put his
In
pick up
studio.
one more time before we go to break.
There it is.
Look, everyone's got to see this guy, the great work. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
That is our man,
Yeah.
Doogie Howser.
Ready to go, Doogie Howser.
Doogie Howser.
All right, our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. Luke Willson coming in to pick a loser tonight. You fade the boys, Owen Wilson on a Monday night. They cannot pick a winner on a Monday night. And I have a feeling I know exactly who they're going to pick tonight, and I can't wait until
You
it's
don't know
announced.
squat.
I know exactly what's coming. So we'll get to that and more still to come with Luke. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, TSN 1050's Leafs lineup is your chance to win Leaf tickets every week all season long. Every weekday we will announce a current or former Maple Leaf player. And on Fridays you'll have a chance to call in and name the Leafs lineup of the week. Name all the players in the lineup. You'll score a pair of tickets to an upcoming Maple Leaf game. Today's player, Matt Sundin. Today's player is Matt Sundin. This week we're giving away a pair of tickets to see the Leafs take on the Kings Halloween night. Outstanding, October
Yeah, that'll be
31st.
a fun one.
There you go. I think, again, that's an 8 o'clock start, I believe.
Yes.
Right? Ray's up here calling that game, I think.
Can make it down that? Well, Halloween
I
night,
won't
though?
be. Yeah,
No, I
it's
can't.
a big night at the house. You know how many
where are you
different
guys at?
costumes we've already gone through?
Well, everyone wants to be Taylor Swift, right? I don't know if that's a...
Yeah, I guess my kids haven't really requested that. I'm sure that'll be the adult move.
Yeah.
Like every couple is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Oh God!
Every Halloween
dreadful.
party, it's going to be so painful.
Where I've made the mistake of buying Halloween candy early.
Oh, so do I. I'm down a box.
I've been dipping into it.
$125.
Like it just, I bought about 500 pieces, and I leave like 400 in the closet, and I got $125. 150 just kind of.
We're down.
Loading.
We have a 125 box open and operating. Down at least 90 pieces.
Like you're just doing drive-bys.
Just drive-bys. Coffee in the morning. There's a 3-pack. Right after lunch, there's a 5-pack.
Yeah.
And it's absurd how many you end up eating. But you know what happens every year? My wife buys like 3 boxes of the same.
Right.
And I get a week in. I go, you got to mix it up.
Yeah, because you're looking for variety.
I can't do Kit Kat coffee crisp every single time. I need like a Reese's Pieces or a Snickers or something.
The orange ones, what is that? The peanut butter cups.
Yes, I would like that kind of mixed in. And then she gives me the conversation every year. She goes, you realize these are for kids.
You're the
Dude,
culprit.
you got to
Halloween,
stay away from
idiot.
it. You can't have it around. You just can't have it around.
It's awful to have around. But I can't. This time of year, man, you got to have it. You got to have it. If it's in the house, it's going down.
Yeah.
It's got the survival rate is 0%.
Yeah. Well,
right?
I bought 500 pieces, and I believe that should be good enough. I just don't want that one kid to show up again, the kid who stole a bunch.
Well, you got to open the door this year. You can't just if you put a basket out there, or whatever, you're asking for trouble, man. That's just the reality.
That kid, his parents better have some supervision on him.
You can have a stop and chat, but that'll go over well.
It's ridiculous.
The guy on TV down the street scolded me for what I did last year.
Well, I wouldn't know
that?
who
Doogie
this
Howser's
kid,
boy?
Yeah, I don't know
it
who
is.
this kid is because he had a costume on. But I can pick out the
You're going to
the walk
interrogate?
and the body language. We'll
You're
figure
going
it
to
out.
interrogate kids this year?
No, I'm not.
I told you, man, one of these years I'm going to sit outside and just give out hot takes.
That would be awesome.
Just hot takes for Halloween. You want to take? Here's my take. I want Justin Herbert. It's one of the 250 most famous people.
If you don't want to do it at home, do it on the show on Halloween. Just say, you know what? We'll have a doorbell ring. We'll say hot takes for Halloween.
Sure.
Why not?
I'll do
Trick or
that.
treat, Brian, and then you go.
We'll have the whole
right,
company.
Set it
Anyone's
up,
got
yeah.
a hot take, we'll play it on Halloween.
That's a great
doorbell
idea.
ring, a whole company.
Halloween hot takes, courtesy of the OverDrive
We'll
crew.
get Jay on right. We'll get Kara, get everybody to put their
everybody.
hot take, the one hot take that they have, and we'll.
Now, is it
we'll put
about Halloween? Is
No,
it about candy?
sports.
Is it
No,
about
sports.
Okay.
So somebody's going to say that Dallas is going to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. That'll be a hot take.
That would be scorching hot.
That's a Pierre LeBrun hot take.
Well, listen, if they win tonight, I think they're 4-2. The Eagles lost. The Niners lost. The Niners lost to the Browns without Deshaun Watson playing. And do you see the kicker? I felt for this guy, Moody. He missed like a chip shot. He had his whole family at the game.
Tough.
He was taking pictures with him, I think, before the game. We're talking like 15 people. He bought tickets. Everyone was down. He must be a Midwestern guy. He's in Cleveland. And after the game, it's like, Moody, come on, man. Like, that was a layup. That was a chip shot he missed last night.
It was wide right. That was
Shanahan was pulling a Dable. Shanahan was none too happy. Man, coaches hate kickers when they screw up. Like, it's such an inhumane reaction. They hate kickers. Like, a quarterback throws a bad pick, they're upset. Running back fumbles a ball, defensive breakdown. But if a kicker does something, it's just a different level of disturbance.
The look on Belichick's face, this is Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. Well, him taking the safety yesterday to close that game out, like that, that is his season and his career in a nutshell.
Had enough. He can't do it anymore.
The look on his
face. I can tell by
face.
looking at him.
Yeah, he has had enough. And I if I'm in New England at this point, I'm rooting for them to tank.
Well, they're 1-5.
Exactly.
Aren't they?
Like go 3-14 and lose and try to get. What Belichick needs is what Greg Popovich just got. Pop, there he is. Come on in here. Timo and Wilson making their way in. How are you doing? Look how happy he is to see a winner over here picking winners. It's great to see him. Pop had been a mess for like a few years.
Right.
And then they win the lottery. They get Wembanyama. You see what he's doing in the preseason.
You see how happy Pop's face is
Well,
right
loves
now?
this kid now.
The kid is dancing
He's
in
a
the
stud.
preseason.
He is a stud, man. And Pop loves him already. Pop's got he's revitalized, basically.
Yeah,
and that's
of
what
course.
Belichick needs.
Wow,
All right.
Mac Jones he might
Mac
as well
Jones is not the answer.
take his gear off.
Yeah, he's a backup in the league. That's what he is. Luke Willson in studio.
What nonsense are you spewing over here?
I'm just
man?
saying. I was telling the world, like I'm usually a second half gambler, like I was telling you guys earlier today. And
Noodles, dog. If you had to listen to this guy, he had one good weekend. Blind squirrel finds a nut. You probably haven't stopped. What'd he say?
The problem is, I gave him credit. I compared him to Rocky Balboa when the Russian guy said, this guy won't go down, he won't die. I gave him that prop, Luke, but he still said, no, it's better than that. It's bigger than that. He goes, I'm coming for you. It's just, I gave him
the
props.
truth. Be honest.
We went undefeated this weekend.
The thing is,
That's fine.
I told him, I said, we are continuing to dominate. You refuse to acknowledge that.
No, I'm acknowledging the reality. Is
Like
it's
enough with the death guy, the
Michael
Ultimate
Myers.
Warrior.
That's what you're
Yeah, the
hearing.
Michael Myers
play
picking up the
Halloween.
phone.
Play the
It's
Halloween
like,
music.
get a new gift, bro.
Play it,
Get a
JP.
new
Yeah,
gift.
No, do you know how many Michael Myers gifts there are, man? I'm just getting started here.
He's been ripping them in the group.
I'm just getting started.
Ripping
Man.
them.
I had the one last night where he picks up the phone all dumbfounded. That was a great one. And the Giants covered that number last night. Be honest, you were hearing this.
Yeah.
When it was 6-0 at the half, this thing was blaring.
Yeah.
It was blaring
Well,
last night.
this is what if I were going to give you an honest critique of your weekend, great call on the
Thank you.
Giants.
Thank you.
It was.
The other two are complete
No,
trash.
the Bengals.
The
were always
Thursday
winning that
nighter
game.
was gross. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
The Seahawks absolutely puked all over themselves.
They
5
did.
red zone trips, 10 points.
They did.
It was ridiculous.
Yep.
You got away with one. You should have been 2-1, and you're a 2-1 guy. You know.
That's
yeah,
fine.
I'm good. We are a 3-0 team. That's the difference.
I don't see it that way at all. 2-1 for a lifetime, man. You're going to win a lot
Yeah.
of titles, right, Noodles? You
I
know
think
that.
the average is the law of averages.
extrapolate
Just
that?
Chip away, that's 66.
I'm 11-5-1. I'm not happy. These guys are 13-3-1. They're parading in the streets.
Can we chat though, O-Dog? About at what point do we just start talking about the greatness of Team Owen Wilson?
You guys are
I
picking
know.
winners. So
We're
give
in
me credit.
6
Couple
weeks in.
layups.
You thought it was a 1-week fluke.
You know what's going to happen?
Partsy, think about it like this: if you bet like heavy coin on our selections, I think you'd like where you're sitting right now.
Yeah.
No question.
Hey, collectively, let's be honest. Collectively, we're 24-8-4
That's impressive.
or 8-2. Like that's you keep rolling over our picks. Collectively, you're making a lot of money.
I
Lots of
do.
money.
I will say though, it has brought the best out. You like to challenge the competition. I sit there
Right.
now and I'm like,
You better pick a winner.
at
tonight.
first I thought Hayes was complete trash. I did.
Yeah.
Oh, he is trash.
But now he challenges me to make sure I'm on my X's and
All right,
O's.
well, let's see.
I
Go
was
ahead,
pulling
Noodles.
for the Giants yesterday. Like,
Yes.
Was that a hold?
At the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'd say that one was a little more gray.
Right.
One of the things that is a little strange about that whole play, Noodles, and
Right.
again, everyone wants to talk about the whole, and it goes either way. But that specific play where it's like, hey, we're on the goal line, everybody thinks that we're going to throw it to, run it with Saquon.
Right.
We sneak the tight end out. Why Darren Waller? Darren Waller, tremendous talent, arguably one of the most athletic tight ends in the game today. But for that style of play, take your big meathead who nobody thinks is getting the ball
Right.
and have him run it.
Yeah. Like,
It's like block him on a DN. No one respects him. Go. Like, clearly, if you're sitting there on the Bills defense, you're like, all right, there's one guy who might get the ball here. It's Darren Waller. So, like, that style of play is one more reserved for the meat stick tight end.
right.
I thought it was a brutal call, like, play call in general. And I also think, you got, and I have some personal experience with this. Yes, you got stuffed at the end of the half, but live and die with Saquon.
Right.
Like, he's your guy.
Hand
Live
it to
and die
him
with
and
him.
have him. He's either in or out.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, we got down to the half-yard line. Saquon got stuffed. We did what, we gave the ball to the best back in the league.
Well, they would argue they did that at the end of the first half to see what happened.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. I understand you can go back to that moment, but at the same point, it's like where my head goes. And again, as you guys know, I have some personal experience with this one. Okay, the flip side of that is Saquon really going to be stopped twice on the half?
Probably not. Yep, probably not.
So that whole situation was strange. I did think it could have been called a hold, but I didn't think it was like a blatant for sure, hey, this is a PI.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't they try what the Eagles try all the time in that situation? They're on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
Why not a quarterback sneak?
I
Even.
really think now that teams are realizing that if they don't have Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelce, I don't think that play is as dominant as everyone has made it to be, unless you're on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Who lost as well yesterday. And Jalen Hurts has not been great, man. He's throwing 7 picks. Zach Wilson with a big win.
Your guy, Zach Wilson.
I'm rooting for the Jets, man. I'm rooting for the Jets.
I'm telling you guys, it's my one takeaway from early on. I honestly think Zach Wilson, it might be with a different team. Who knows? I don't think Rodgers is going to play that long. I think if you leave the kid alone, he might be okay. Partsy, thoughts?
I think Zach Wilson has, even yesterday, has a very, very long way to go before he's considered starting quarterback in this league. I think that he has
I didn't think that's what you were going to say, Partsy.
Yeah. I think that he has some physical talent, but, I mean, even yesterday, they settled for 4 field goals, and it's
I know what you're going to say. You're going to say he's a dum-dum.
He does not process the game very well right now. And I also think that it's very, like, they're making it as easy as they can on him. And when you see a team that struggles in the red zone, to me, that's a telltale sign. The Ravens would be a perfect example. Like, Tucker kicked 1 million field goals in their win. And it's when you don't have plays that have timing, fluidity, again, I know it's boring to say, but football fundamentals, all of a sudden you get to that red zone and the windows get tighter. You can't have guys clear out because there's nowhere to clear everybody out. You have to have a guy back there who can go through his progressions, know exactly whether it's pre-snap or during the play, and sling the ball where it's supposed to be, or you're going to settle for field goals. Mm-hmm. So until he starts really coming out here and ripping the balls that are second and third down his progression lines, I just don't know if he's got it.
So we were asking earlier about the game tonight, because this is a big game for both teams. Chargers at home coming off a bye. Cowboys, last time we saw them, they got embarrassed Sunday Night Football in San Fran. Like, who
has
more
game
at
for
stake?
Team Owen Wilson,
Yes, it feels that way.
We got to keep our foot on your throat.
Well, the Cowboys are laying points. You want to get to your pick, and then we'll discuss why it's all going to play out that way?
So
who do you guys like?
Talked with Partsy this morning. We're going back and forth. When I woke up this morning, I thought this was the hardest pick I'm going to have. Mm-hmm. And I was really torn. We. My bad, Partsy. My bad.
Yes, I'll forgive you, Parts.
And I want the Cowboys to win, but I'm taking the Chargers.
Yes, that's the play every day of the week.
My thought is, the more I dug into this thing, first and foremost, I think with Van Der Esch out on Dallas, there's chats that Micah Parsons is going to be playing linebacker because they can't stop the run. And Trayvon Diggs out for the year. I think they have some holes on defense. You look at the 3 wins Dallas has had, and they've been able to create turnovers, get up a bunch, and basically cruise.
Bad teams.
The Giants.
The Jets.
At
home.
Let's not forget the Chargers aren't exactly world beaters, gentlemen.
No,
agreed.
But they're at home coming off a bye.
And then the next thing I'll say is this whole situation with Kellen Moore, if I'm a Cowboys fan, scares me a little bit. I mean, Mike McCarthy basically shipped him out of town. Since, the dawn of time with Kellen Moore when he was playing quarterback in college, all anyone said about this guy is that he's like an offensive guru. He knows all these things. This is a guy who basically just got shipped out of Dallas, is going to know this defense like the back of his hand, know every individual on this defense, and also be able to go into the Chargers D-coordinate defensive room and be like, hey, this is what Dak Prescott hates, because if there's one guy who knows Dak Prescott, it's Kellen Moore.
That's it, man. It's like what we saw with Dable and the Bills last night. Like, Dable, he knows Allen. He knows that offense. It didn't work in terms of them winning, but it worked in terms of covering. I mean, both these teams scare me historically because they know how to choke, right? The Chargers love to choke away a ball game, but off a bye, at home, getting points, that's Chargers. That's what I thought this morning. I mean,
I can't tell if you're trolling right now.
No, I'm not.
Should I be nervous right now? Should I switch to pick?
Hayes and Company, I'm seeing the board very well. If I had to pick, I'd go Chargers tonight.
Have you ever
Hayes
heard a guy
a
say,
fraud?
I'm seeing the board very well? It's so painful. It's like, we get it. We're better than you. We're elite. We're pro athletes, and we don't talk like that. We just do our thing.
That's fine. You can do whatever you want.
Here's a serious question for you, Hayes. So you come off probably the greatest calls you've ever made.
Yes. The only one he's ever had stones.
Exactly. So what is it going to feel like when we nail this call tonight and you're like, wow, I had a great weekend, and you made up absolutely no ground because Team Owen Wilson is a juggernaut that cannot be stopped. We're going to be 1/3 of the season done, and there's just no sign of slowing.
That's fine.
Let's go, Part C.
Let's go, pro athletes all the way.
I'm still right on your tail, so it doesn't matter. You know, listen, you got to lay up. The London games have been rigged and layups.
Like that game
when it kicked
that
off.
Jackson, I swear to God, I took my daughter to hockey in Barrie the other day, and a gentleman came up to me and he said, "That call Owen Wilson made in London with Jacksonville," and the gentleman, you know who I'm talking about. The call, the Bills-Jacksonville, was the greatest gambling call he's ever been a part of, and he benefited from it. And he shook my hand and said,
Wow.
"You and Luke Wilson are great gentlemen, and Owen Wilson is the real deal."
Sure. All
Thank
right.
you for saying
Let's
that.
pretend we live in a world where that actually happened.
No, it did.
100%.
That's a great
I
bet.
can't even get a coffee. I can't walk
I'm
to the
sure
store
you
and get a
can.
coffee without someone making a mention of Team Owen Wilson's greatness.
You guys picked that game. It was Ravens -4 by kickoff. I think it was -6.5. Everything started moving. Tennessee was a disaster. That's fine. That's a layup. Detroit against the Bucs. That should have been a 7.5, 10.5 point spread. Detroit's legit, man. I got to give Dan Campbell some serious credit, man. That defense, they are legit.
Baker Mayfield.
Like the Bengals at home against the Seahawks, tough game. Giants laying those kind of points on a Sunday night at the Ralph. I mean, those are tough games.
Are you
Tonight's a
listening to
tough
this
game.
nonsense,
Tonight's a
Odell?
tough game. But I wouldn't
Nonsense.
be here's my spin on why, and again, I'm going against my own logic here, but why I think the Cowboys, if they're going to win, this is why they will win. They got embarrassed as badly as they did last week.
Yes.
Like, football, you go home, you lick your wounds, and you say, man, that can't happen again on prime time. I think it benefits them. It's back-to-back prime time. Right. You get smoked
Dude, they're always
in the
on
Bay
prime
Area.
time. What are you talking about? It's
But
not like they're getting jacked up for it. Every
They will
Cowboy game
be.
is prime time.
They'll be jacked
They
up.
also
tonight.
got-
like, how many Cowboy fans do you think will be there?
A lot, but I
50%?
again, deep down, I want not any now because we need the dub, but I like Dallas. Like I like Cowboys fans for the most part.
Really?
I really do.
That's shocking.
But
I've never heard anyone say that before.
The wild thing is here, I'm not sure this team is any good.
No.
Like they got thumped last week.
They lost to Arizona.
They lost to Arizona, and they have really no good wins on their resume right now.
Partsy, here's a little thing for you. Don't ever forget what the Cowboys are. They give you false hope, and everyone buys into the logo and how good they are and how much money they spend and how grandiose everything is. They screw it up every year, whether it's Dak, whether it's injuries, whether it's Mike McCarthy blowing something on the sidelines. They do the same garbage every year, and don't ever forget that.
Yes, they do. But you know who that description also applies to?
Who?
The Chargers. The L.A. Chargers are
They're good at it,
infamously-
too.
They shoot themselves in the foot more than maybe any other franchise in pro sports.
I
Tonight would be a classic
but
example.
Kellen Moore
off a bye.
is that
Kellen
guy.
Moore.
He's that coach to me.
Listen, they put up numbers. Like, offensively, they put up numbers. Can they get stops? Like, the first few weeks,
so
Khalil Mack's a beast.
And that is where it's like Dallas's team, I think, is not built to play run and gun ball. Like McCarthy said he wanted more out of there because he's like too many gadgets. We want to run the ball more. If the Chargers start putting up numbers and then it's like, hey, we need Dak to throw for 350 tonight, he might throw for 350, but 2 of those will be picks, and that's going to cost him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got
And
you.
then
I got
another
one for you,
undefeated
though.
weekend.
So you've been in L.A. a lot. You hang out,
Well, I am a frequent LA visitor.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Justin Herbert.
Yes.
Justin
Herbert, yes.
I
Saint
call him
Hubert.
Hebert. I don't know why I call him Hebert all the time.
Hebert.
Herbert. Apologies. If he walked into name a club there,
Yeah.
whatever, like
Noodles,
recognizable
just ask
or not?
him the
Is
King
he,
Daddy.
What's the King Daddy top? Or is he, Hayes
Is he
thinks
in
he's
the top
300.
300 of famous people in L.A.?
In LA? No.
Yes, I
this-
know.
There
If
you
this
go.
guy's, let's leave outside of LA
Right.
for a sec. If this guy goes down to Newport Beach or even Hermosa Beach, Newport's too far. We'll go Hermosa Beach.
Right.
You're like, oh, this guy just caught a couple waves today, man. You have no idea this guy's a ball player.
Right. Like
He's
but
working out on the strip there.
I
he's
disagree.
in Hollywood. I said he's probably the 500th famous person in
Yeah.
LA as far as notice.
Top 250. He's
He
a
said he's a
quarterback,
200.
dude. This guy's 6'5". He looks like, Mr. America.
Adonis, yes.
Yes, he's 6'5". He's got great hair. That
Yeah,
guy's
but
like,
there's
there's
some
some
you haven't spent
pitch
much
and there's a
time
bunch
at
of
the Nice
pitching
Guy in
that
West
do
Hollywood.
TikTok
You went to
videos.
Sunset. There's a pancake place on Sunset where there's a guy that looks like that serving pancakes because he's an
Yes,
actor.
That's
I want to
fine,
be actor.
but he doesn't.
1000%.
He does. He's not worth $250 million and a
I
starting
understand
quarterback.
That's not the
but
question.
Yes, it
question
is. That's how in a nutshell. How much money do you make? Who are
but
you? What kind of access
when
can
I-
you get me?
You said recognizable. I'm like, they are.
No, I said
good-looking-
celebrity. I said
Celebrity status. Okay.
I'm telling you, man. Justin Herbert, whatever the hell his name is.
Herbert, I apologize.
Justin Herbert walks down the strip on Sunset at midnight on a Friday night. People are going to be like, that's a starting quarterback for our LA Chargers.
What?
Chargers town. They love the Chargers.
I don't know if I don't know if Patrick Mahomes walked down Sunset, but there's no football fans there.
Yeah, see, that was one of my takes also, actually. So I'm kind of splitting hairs here. Because I said I thought 50% of the fans tonight will be Cowboy fans.
Oh, for sure.
Like 50% minimum. A, because it's the Cowboys and they travel, but the Chargers, no one in LA cares.
And if they
Except
did
for
care,
Justin
it
Herbert
would be
because
about
of his
the
celebrity.
Rams.
Yeah, and even that, I'm not sure the Rams don't sell like a ton. Like there's a lot of visiting fans in the building for the Rams.
Agreed.
Even Ram games.
But I think that generally, if you ask someone who's like a hardcore LA person who they pull for, they'd say the Rams. Like, no, I don't know if I know anyone who's like, I'm a Los Angeles Chargers guy.
No, I
they're all
think-
San Diego people.
I think you're probably right. Okay, Herbert goes to San Diego.
Oh yeah.
Now we're talking, right? All right.
Probably,
Doesn't
yes.
matter. It's all hypothetical.
Totally different scene here.
Totally different scene.
We're talking
My
about
bad.
walking on
There's
Sunset
Kardashians,
Boulevard.
There's
Totally different
Kardashians. You name it. Like there's
All right, maybe he's not in the top 250, but
yeah,
he's up there.
top 500.
He's more popular than people on TikTok.
Partsy, do you
Most
think there's
really.
any part of Los Angeles, beach area, Santa Monica, that Hazy B would cause a stir at all?
Santa Monica, it's
Venice
possible.
Beach. Venice Beach.
Yeah, I could
Venice
see that.
is gritty,
Yeah, it's gritty there.
but
Gritty?
they like winters. They like winters in Venice.
So they
I think
send-
it would have to be some
They'd
kind
love
of
me
grubby.
there.
It would have to be some kind of grubby sports
Probably a
bar.
sports bar.
if they have like a Canadian like
house.
yeah, something like that.
Sure.
Like a Maple Leaf bar.
Yeah. We
That's
ring
it,
out.
though.
We ring out down there in LA. I'm sure we ring out. All right, Timo and Wilson, you guys are on the Chargers tonight, getting 1.5 points. Lock it in, Doogie. Doogie's back there doing work.
Pro athlete salute.
Salute. Noodles. gets
Noodles,
in there.
thanks for joining in. Thank you.
He is a pro athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I was.
Exactly. It
In
was
another
meant for three
lifetime.
people.
Well, semi-professional. They can
Yeah.
get in there.
Yeah, there you go.
Semi-professional.
By the way, I
I
just
got
want to
paid
say
for my trade at one point. 150
next week,
bucks a week.
is going to be. I'm calling you right now. Next week will be the separator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week,
Oh, yeah.
almost every game on the schedule, I'm going to give you a heads up. You better start looking.
Sure.
Because there'll be no layups, and my goodness, is it going to be tough.
Listen, I'm
Next
all
week
good,
is
man.
the separator.
You don't have to worry
We're
about
gonna
me.
build it up. The separator.
The separator. This
yeah,
is,
you know why it's a
this
separator?
is the week.
The grappler's not handing you guys layups anymore.
Yeah.
Doogie's
Grappler
actually
gave you
got
guys
some
a-
integrity.
Well, have you met Doogie?
Yeah,
I already gave him the handful of cash.
There
He
you
knows
go.
the
Yeah,
protocol.
Doogie, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I know.
He'll have a grand on him for the rest of his life.
Yeah, the $1,000 handshake.
As he should. All right, the boys are on the Chargers tonight, getting 1.5 in LA against the Cowboys. We'll chat with you later in the week.
Sounds good.
There's Luke Willson. All right, we'll come back, tee up the Leaf game one more time as well. Get to our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Doogie, do me a favor before we get out of here. Check out the maps. Let us know what the parkway is like because we got to get down there ASAP for puck drop tonight. Doogie's on it. I think we used to ask the grappler to look up, the Waze app or whatever every once
He
in a
never
while.
did anything. He didn't do it.
Grappler would do it. Grappler would happily
okay.
do it. He would do it now, right? He's in management. He'd do it for higher ups, right? The CEO of the company would do it. He wouldn't do it for us. But
Whatever email that guy sent about some sound, I'm not
yeah,
participating.
you're going to be on it. I'm telling you. Sound check tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.
sound check for what? We've been using this stuff for 5 years.
No, it's an on-air check.
Yeah, he
For,
wants to make sure that it's 25 minutes to get down to the Scotiabank Arena. Look at Doogie's right on it, man.
So
All
the
right.
guy's the best. We love him.
Okay. Today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. We're riding the Matthews wave here. Auston Matthews, anytime goal scorer tonight. We're on it.
Yeah.
Maple Leafs by 1.5 or more. Okay, so we're buying to have. I know
You're paying for that, aren't you?
it's still juice, but by them, 2+ tonight. I think it's like an empty netter. I think it'll be a good game tonight. I do, but I like the Leafs by 2+, and Connor Bedard to register 4+ shots on goal tonight. There's your parlay. There's your SGP
right.
for the Maple Leaf game tonight.
Pretty good one.
Yeah, I like it. Today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays are now available for every NHL game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 19+ and physically located in Ontario. All right, Connor Bedard tonight. Think he gets on the score sheet?
I do. I think he gets on the score sheet. I think Matthews scores. I don't know if he gets 3. I think there's lots of goals tonight. I think it's a lopsided game, personally.
Me too.
You like Leafs big tonight?
Yeah, I like Leafs
I've
big.
got a feeling on that. But I've been completely wrong on everything so far.
I think Chicago, I think they've had a really tough schedule to start.
Yeah, on the road.
Right, they play. This is their 4th game tonight on the road. Yeah, this feels like one
That's
where
a grindy start for them, Hazy.
And the Leafs have been home the whole time. The Leafs are just sitting at home waiting. They're the veteran team. It should be Leafs big tonight, but we'll see. Game can be heard right here on TSN Radio. The Tap Man coming up with Frankie Corrado. Full breakdown tomorrow and full breakdown on the Monday Nighter as well. All right, we got a lot cooking this week. Lots cooking this week. We're out of here. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today, radio, TV, podcast, web. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
Doogie, that's a hell of a start. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.